JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon made a stark statement. America is in danger. The country is far too dependent on foreign supply chains, and if the United States does not act now, it risks losing its ability to manufacture goods at home. Even the most influential banker on Wall Street admits that America is forgetting how to build and create. Look around. The jobs that once defined the nation are disappearing at an alarming rate. In October 2025 alone, more than 150,000 Americans lost their jobs, the worst October in the past 20 years. Entire industries are being burned to the ground. Warehouses that once provided a lifeline for working families are cutting tens of thousands of positions. Tech companies laid off more than 33,000 employees in a single month, and the decline is not slowing down. In just 10 months, more than 1 million jobs have vanished, a massive increase compared to last year. Hiring has stopped, investments are frozen, and cities that once thrived on factories and tech parks are emptying out. Stores are closing, families are leaving, communities are falling apart. If you work, invest, or simply buy American goods, this affects you too. Look at what is happening in the United Kingdom right now. Britain is collapsing before our eyes. Car production has fallen to the level of 1952. Factories are shutting down. Tens of thousands of people are losing their jobs because high energy prices and heavy taxes make manufacturing impossible. What is happening in the UK is now starting to repeat in the United States. And this is a warning Americans cannot ignore. If things continue as they are, the United States could follow the same path, from a once dominant industrial power to a country that has forgotten how to produce. The consequences will be far worse than just lost jobs. It could destroy the very foundation of the American middle class. The UK is literally falling apart. Here is the harsh truth. Industrial output is shrinking again. In September 2025, the manufacturing PMI fell to 46.2, the lowest level in 5 months. Remember, anything below 50 indicates contraction. Energy-intensive industries, paper, metal, chemicals, have collapsed to their lowest point in 35 years. When factories stop, jobs disappear. And when there are no jobs, entire communities collapse. That is exactly what is happening now. And it is not only about Britain. When workers in the UK and the US lose industrial professions, it signals something much bigger, the rise of China as the new global manufacturing hub. Today, China produces nearly 29% of all global industrial output, more than the United States, Europe, or any other country. Meanwhile, Britain's share of global manufacturing has fallen even further. So if the UK and the US are losing production, who is taking it over? China. The world still needs goods, electronics, and auto parts, and more of them are now being made in China. What is especially telling is that despite all the promises, Donald Trump's economic strategy is sending worrying signals. He is missing the opportunity that could have strengthened the country. Take Michigan, one of the key industrial states Trump focused on. He promised to bring factories and jobs back, but the numbers tell a different story. According to the University of Michigan, employment in manufacturing continues to fall, especially in transportation equipment production. Since 2023, the state has lost about 23,900 factory jobs, and the total decline over the past year exceeds 80,000. New tariffs on steel and aluminum could eliminate another 2,300 automotive jobs by 2026. Measures intended to protect workers are only deepening the wave of layoffs. Now look at Ohio. Trump once called it the golden vein of industry, but today it is one of the worst states in terms of factory job losses. Since 2000, Ohio has lost hundreds of thousands of manufacturing jobs. Experts note that the new wave of industrial growth is no longer going to the so-called Rust Belt. It is shifting south, to the Sun Belt. Simply put, the states that formed the foundation of Trump's industrial revival are actually shrinking. Tariffs, policy confusion, high energy costs, and a shortage of skilled workers are only accelerating the outflow of jobs. Michigan and Ohio are seeing not a revival, but a retreat. The loud slogans about America's great comeback are colliding with the reality of factory towns. If this strategy failed to deliver even where Trump promised victory, what chance does it have of working nationwide? Trump's only bet is blanket tariffs without a coherent plan. And this is the same mistake Britain made when it followed Washington instead of rebuilding its own industries for its people. Now let's take a closer look at what is happening inside the United States. In October 2025, employers announced 153,000 job cuts, the worst October for layoffs in more than 20 years. The pace of layoffs increased by roughly 175% compared to October 2024 and nearly tripled compared to September. These losses are not random. They are concentrated in the most vulnerable sectors. In October alone, technology companies cut more than 33,000 employees, far more than just a few thousand the month before. Logistics and warehousing, which thrived during the pandemic, are now collapsing. Nearly 48,000 jobs have been eliminated due to automation and excess capacity. Retail chains are also facing a severe crisis. Falling consumer spending, store closures, and rising costs are forcing companies to lay off workers en masse. We are witnessing what may be the biggest mistake of Donald Trump's presidency unfolding before our eyes. The warning signs can no longer be ignored, and yet Washington calls this a recovery. If this is recovery, what does collapse look like? As a result, America remains in a vulnerable position. Trump's loud claims about great deals and the return of jobs sound hollow when allies are out of sync and rivals continue to outplay him on every front. Without a clear long-term strategy and relying only on a spectacle of tariffs, the situation will not improve. It will get worse. The United States may face a further decline in manufacturing, weakened negotiating power, and growing economic risks. This is not yet a collapse, but if things continue this way, the country will be dangerously close to one. Let us return to the United Kingdom, a country that has gone much further down the path of industrial decline. What began a decade ago in its factories and shipyards is now ending in quiet closures and broken supply chains. According to analysts, Britain is becoming the first major economy to have fully undergone de-industrialization. The country has lost vast amounts of production capacity. In some sectors, output has fallen back to the levels of the 1950s. Cities built around factories have emptied and lost their purpose for existence. And while the British government was distracted by global affairs, American politicians are doing the same, spending billions abroad while the industrial base at home slowly fades. Britain is a clear example of what happens when a country stops building. And today, America is following the same path. Meanwhile, the United States is facing a shipping crisis, another serious problem that makes the situation even worse. One of the most alarming signs is the collapse of maritime trade between China and the United States. According to reports, the number of container ships traveling from China to American ports has dropped to about 41 vessels. This is the lowest level since February 2024 and a decline of roughly 42% in just 3 weeks. Even worse, the number of standard containers shipped from Asia to the United States has fallen to its lowest point in over a year. Every empty trade route reflects a slowing economy. Chinese exports overall fell by 1.1% in October, but shipments to the United States plunged by 25%. Why is this alarming? Because when trade slows down, it drags everything with it: manufacturing, warehouse jobs, transport, ports, global supply chains, and ultimately consumer access to goods. A country like the United States depends not only on producing but also on moving products. And when that movement stops, the ripple effects spread instantly. The fact that shipments from China to the United States are falling while China is actively diversifying trade across Southeast Asia and Africa points to only one conclusion: America is losing ground. The consequences are clear: fewer jobs, fewer contracts, idle assets, and the risk of price spikes or even shortages. And all of this is happening right now. The United States is losing not only the battle for jobs, but also the strategic space necessary for a manufacturing revival. Not just today, but for years to come. Factories can be rebuilt, but only if leadership stops repeating the same mistakes. And to stay updated on all the news, like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.